Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March the 11th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are seeing our first reflexive bounce. It's a big one. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. Taking a look at the E-mini S&Ps. We gapped down. And this is why I say, listen, be careful reading social media and allowing it to consume your mental state. All you want to look at is how is price behaving and can I see things shifting? So let's take a look first from an anatomical perspective. What's going on with price? Notice lower low, technical divergence, and then a recapture of the hourly formation candlestick, right? That's the high of that candlestick being held. So what's it telling you? It's telling you that they are arguing over price action, and these folks here who've been short for a fair clip are now at the point where they're thinking, wow, I think I need to cover some stuff, right? Meaning cover my position. Okay, I'm going to move this down to be the base of the 1 hour candlestick formation. And so today, in this reflexive bounce, we have a couple of things to look at. One, how far could we go? Pretty far. As I mentioned, in bearish structures, reflexive bounces off of new lows can be incredibly dramatic. Incredibly. It can shred you if you're thinking about shorting a low. And so, as I mentioned, you don't short the low, you short the bounce. Okay, so the next relative bounce, in my mind, should be old support, potentially new resistance, and in the ES, that number is all the way up at 56.83, right? 56.72, pretty fair line in the sand. Yesterday's closing VWAP is 56.52. Also intraday, pullbacks in this environment do make good buy zones. Okay? So, what do you want the pullback to be? Well, I'd like for it to be the top of the opening range candlestick, the first hour of trading. That's 56.25. Well, they just gave it to us a hot minute ago. Okay? We've got momentum that's high. It could stay high. But this is also downward trending formation. And so this downward trending formation is going to run into sellers at the wicks. This is just simply something that's going to happen. Now, could it be a very shallow pullback and a move upward? Yes. So you have to look and say to yourself, how much risk do I want to take here? And if I am chasing this out, am I prepared to have support action down at 56.39, support zone, and run it up to that 56.82? Entirely possible. Absolutely entirely possible. The chart is in a reflexive short covering bounce. That's what the traders are up to this morning. There's no reason for it. I've been listening to folks for days, and they're like, what's the reason for the sell-off? You don't have to have a reason, right? The stock market is a beauty contest. If they're feeling it, they're going to vote for you. If they're not feeling it, they're going to sell you off. It's as simple as it gets. So what's the range today? 56.08 to 56.80. Holy cow, Anne-Marie, that's big. Yeah, it is what it is. Pullbacks in this setup are going to be buy zones intraday. They're in the middle of a reflexive bounce. They need to get back to old support, new resistance. All right? Nice and easy. Let's go to the NQ. Also, pretty solid bounce action. Not nearly as strong as the ES in my mind, but still well above. Oops, excuse me. Let me delete that one. And wow, that's pretty good. Look at that. All right, here is the close or low of the opening range candlestick. That's 19,370. Look, it fell 200 points, 200 and some points, and then it bounced. All right, lower low, technical divergence, momentum starting to lift. It gets above your 5 and your VWAP, Bob's your uncle, right? If it gets inside of this range, you know you can go long up into the top of what? Resistance. That's 19,590-ish. Yesterday's closing VWAP, 19,630. First group of sellers are going to come in, right? Why? Trend is down, momentum is down. But if we can stay above 19,370, we're going to see bullish pressure continue to take over. Notice where the pullback just came in the last hourly candlestick. Right into the top of the opening hour of the charts. So what are we looking for? Pullbacks to be buy zones. What are those numbers? I like 19,450. That looks pretty good. Where could the upward draft go? Well, old support. 50 simple moving average, top of the Keltner band, that's 19,775. Could be easy, could walk it straight up, could be hard, leave it all the way choppy. We don't really have a ton of news today that's not going to hit the airwaves, but at some juncture, all of the news will begin to dampen what's actually going on in price. And so at the end of the day, what I want you to focus on is price. Just stare down price, and you will be on the right side of the trade. Don't overthink what's happening around you. Tune out and tune in. Tune out of all the crazy things that might be going on, and tune in to what price action is telling you. That's it, folks. That's it. Let's take a look at the YM. Same sort of thing. Double bottom formation. Look, it came right into our number. I did not change this. You can go to yesterday's video. You can see this number, 41,658. This was my thought about what the YM should do. Okay? Notice, double bottom, technical divergence. You might go, I can't see that when it's happening. Well, just wait until you get up over the 5 simple moving average. That's all you do. Wait, and then first pullback, buy it. And Bob's your uncle, folks. I don't know if everybody knows the Bob's your uncle thing, but Bob's your uncle just means everybody's got an Uncle Bob. That's easy, right? So what are we looking for from a support perspective in the chart? We want to see pullbacks holding the buy zones. Where's the pullback? The low of the opening candlestick formation, 41,890. Now, could it be that it holds 42,000? Absolutely. Absolutely. It could easily hold 42,000. But for us, the only thing we need to manage is, what's my risk? If you take a long here and you say to yourself, hey, I'm above the 5, it's upward. Yeah, definitely. But your risk is going to be down here. So if you take a position at 42,120 or whatever number that is, and you have a 120 tick stop. Now at $5 a tick, that's pretty substantial. So of course, you know what I would say. I would go, don't do that, right? Wait for price action to come to you and then take the trade on the risk. Wouldn't it be better to have a 20 tick risk rather than a 120 tick risk? Yes, but I might miss the move. Well, that's the trick of the trader, right? Can you stomach waiting through the best times to act? Patience is going to make you a ton of money. And it's not going to make you a ton of money because you're waiting around for whatever. It's going to make you a ton of money because it's going to minimize your risk when you engage in the market. That's the most important thing, right? How do those of us with gray hair sit around for so long in the markets? We learn to wait for the motion that gives us upside drift, right? Where is this chart likely going today? My thought is the YM could rocket into 42,400. That's old resistance, new support. But there are a lot of people that are very bearish. So this is not going to be a straight up as you go, hey, this is going to be awesome. Nay, nay. It's going to be something that says you better pay attention to support action formations and understand what the traders are trying to do. Because, as I mentioned yesterday, if I am trying to short this market, I am going to bait you into taking along up over the highs, and then I'm going to do the rug pull. Now, you might go, that's dastardly, Anne-Marie. You know, I hear you. I'm just here to wash, rinse, and repeat, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. I'm using the skills that the market has taught me over the years to do what I know to do well. And that is watching for the bait and switch. And that's what somebody just did. Hey, it gets up over this wick, I'm going long. Or it gets up over this wick and the shorts go, I got to get out of here. And then, boom, it moves right back into the range. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin. Now, I stand vindicated. Bitcoin did come into 76,000. It's coming back. I'm just saying. It's coming back again. There's no doubt about it. Hang on a second. I got to close the trade. For the love of Pete. Sometimes. Okay. All right, here we go. Sometimes stop step X can be very finicky. Okay. So I'm taking trades across all my accounts. It makes for very easy trading in the early part of the morning. Pre-market trading is my absolute favorite time to trade because it's so quiet. There's so little noise. The market moves a lot smoother. I'm not staring anything down. Everything's great. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. I said, hey, this is coming into 74, maybe even 52. Just saying, right? That's still in the cards. Look at what happened in the bounce. Remember, this chart is a proxy for the Qs and the NASDAQ. Bitcoin moves exactly like the Qs. It's a proxy for it. So if the Qs continue to go down, guess what's going to follow? And it doesn't matter whatever news is coming out, this thing's going down. All right? So what's the storyboard today? We could have ourselves a pretty nice reflexive bounce, but if we cannot get up over 84, we are going to retest the low. Now, do I think we might retest the low? Yes. Do I think the charts could completely roll over and we head to the south because way too many people are going, ooh, it's time for a bounce? Yes. And I mean that across the board. I mean it with the ES. I mean it with the NQ. I mean it with the YM. I mean it with everything. We are in a controlled rotation and we are going to see bounces fail. Do not think that the market is in recovery. It is not. Why? Because we are under the 50 on the daily and our 5 simple moving average on the daily is sloped downward. And as Brian Shannon says, one of my dearest friends in all the world in the trading business, never trust a downward sloping 5 moving average. Never trust a bounce in that environment. It's always going to bring you sellers until there's a rotation of price. Oh my gosh, what a fantastic short. Oh, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. All right, so what are we doing? Rejection, 82,200. Here's the upward 5. They're going to try and buy the bounce. Where is that? Probably 78, right? That is the opening tick, 79, right? And then this is the hourly formation. If we lose 79, we could easily come back here. Test 76, and then 76,000, of course, and then we just head lower. Charts are in trouble, so don't go buying up a bunch of stuff, all right? let's just be simpletons about things. Don't try to rush. No need to rush here. Everything looks great. All right, here we go. That's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. Let's go to oil. Okay, now, pretty nice reflexive bounce, right? Pretty nice. Here we are, coming up to 67. This is the first fly in the ointment for the buyers. Notice in the overnight, just like everything else, big reflexive bounce. Huge. And literally, it moves straight up the entire time. So what are we looking at? Can I hold 66? Well, I'm almost here at 67, so that's 100 ticks to the south. I have a flat 50. Price action has been moving above and below. I have the closing VWAP from several days past, and that's at 67. For me, it looks like this. Above 67, I could have a blow off top. Below 67, I retest support. Where's my buy zone? It's got to be at the point of control, 66.22. There's some ugly stuff going on here. I can't buy this without watching rotation hold or becoming a scalp trader, right? This is what I'm staring down. So, man, what a beautiful short. I closed that stinker so early. Oh, all right, here we go. Lower levels, if it comes into 66.39, buy zone. 66.20, buy zone. Loss of 66, step out of the way. Step out of the way. There's absolutely no way that this price action should be coming down here and losing 66 if this price action does not have upside action, right? Just the way it is. All right. Now, incidentally, coming up on another bounce zone, I think, in the charts, because we are caught in a value area support zone. So we'll see what goes on there. All right. Let's go to gold. Gold had a little bit of a sell-off, right? Yesterday, bounced absolutely beautifully. What contract am I in? 29.16. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so take a look what happened. Everything's following the same path, folks. Lower low, reflexive bounce, right? This is organized selling. Organized selling. We bounced up into 29.20, could not hold it. Guess what? Topping formation. Into what? Support. Where's that? 29.07, all the way down to 28.80. This is a shorting formation. To me. Now, you might go, but Anne-Marie, there's a 5. It's going straight up. I got a VWAP. That's going straight up. I got momentum. That's going straight up. Yes. But price is master and commander, right? How traders respond to price tell us what's going to happen with the moving average. You might go, but Anne-Marie, don't you normally say that trend is master and commander? Yes, indeed. I do normally say trend is master and commander, and I'm not saying it's not. At the end of the day, if there was only one thing you could watch and everything else was gone, you would need to choose price. And price is telling us, hey fellas, every time I got up here last time, we sold it. So let's do it again. Remember, traders, we are simpletons. I know people like to make it sound like we're all smart and blah, blah, blah. No. They sold here last time. Let's go for it. Let's give it a little room, like right here. Let's sell it. And if we're wrong, we'll get out. And if we're right, we're going to step on some necks. That's as easy as it gets. And listen, that's just how it works. So if you're thinking, wait a second, I think this has legs. If you think that gold has legs, it's got to hold 29.13. So wait for it to fade into that zone. Watch it bounce. And if it holds, head back up to that 29.20. If it doesn't, get out the way, because we are headed back into 29.06 and value area low, 2,900, potentially 2,880. We are in a very big sideways patch of congestion, and what's going on with the dollar is incredibly important right now. It is really moving charts around a lot. So let's just be careful about that. Let's go to SPY. What's happening here? Pre-market action doesn't make a lower low. It's very interesting. Momentum confirms that lower low into the evening time holds, and now we're sitting in a pretty sideways patch. What do we need to get over? $563. If the SPY cannot breach $564, excuse me, we are going to rotate back down to 560. Okay? If we can hold it, it is going to be a reflexive bounce that pushes traders into resistance, and that number is 567. Well, thanks, Captain Obvious. It's either going up or going down. What else you got for me? Listen, I understand how that might sound, but we don't know what's going to happen. We just know that at the level, there is going to be a response. And that response is, let's get out of here. The shorts will say, let's get out of here. And the only way a short position can leave the market is by buying the index or buying the instrument. Buying things makes price go higher. We head into resistance. If we can't get above this area, longs will say, holy cow, I need to get out of this. I'm going to have inventory correction, and it's going to fade and move lower. The goal is, can you put up the chart and go, I'm going to see what happens at 563 and 560. Those are the important numbers in SPY today. That's what you got to focus on. Qs. Same sort of thing. Although they do make a lower low under technical divergence, and then they begin to lift above the 5 simple moving average. Take a look at the amount of volume here. Not trivial. This is a very high volume node, and they, in my mind, piled in like mad right around this 472. So guess what? If we can't hold 472, let's put it here. If we can't hold 472 even, step out of the way, because there's more downside to go. Do I think there's more downside? You betcha. Could it be after a big giant bounce? You betcha. So the line in the sand is, if I get above 476, I'm going to look for longs. Hello, come on, Sally. If I get above 476, I'm going to look for longs into 482. And if I lose 471, I'm going to look for shorts back down at 465. All right? Listen, that's it for me. I'll see you guys on the Benzinga Options Show today at 11. And we have got a really special treat. Tim, Melvin, and I are going to be hanging out tonight for the Benzinga Pro guys, and it is going to be epic. It's going to be fantastic. I'll let you guys know more about it later. It's free. Don't worry. And we will get you some great info. All right. I'll see you soon.